Welcome back.
Thank you, Scott.
So I teased this earlier today as sort of one area of the market you think might be poised for a rally, and let's do that first because it's crude oil, right?
Yeah, we've seen some recent evidence of stabilization in crude just in the last couple of days. And, everybody thought this was a demand problem, but we're finding it's more supply. But technically, crude broke a 1-month downtrend. For me, there's a lot of pessimists. Everybody thinks crude has to continue to go lower. So my thinking is we are ripe for a time when that can start to rally.
So crude rallies and then energy stocks rally in tandem?
Yeah, a lot of these have gotten down to pretty important support levels. OIH, XLE, the main energy ETF. So those are at important levels. I think we're set for at least a bounce in those. We've seen a lot of deterioration in the month of April. I think that crude gets up to the high 70s. That's going to support an energy rally.
Okay, so speaking of levels that we need to watch, the NASDAQ 100.
Yeah.
So we start the show with AI, and everything sort of revolves around AI. And the move in these stocks has led to a pretty good move in the NASDAQ 100.
Right.
Toppy?
Well, certainly overbought. You haven't seen any evidence of toppy. It's literally gone straight higher over the last few months. Very constructive, but it's also served to lift optimism in a lot of these high-growth tech stocks for a lot of the right reasons, being AI, and they're more thought of being safe stocks that people can use to weather any sort of downturn. So I love the group. I think it's probably a bit extended. I wrote in my note yesterday, I think we're close to a time when we probably stall out in large cap tech, and we really need to see that rotation into other groups, being financials, healthcare, industrials, discretionary, to really help to buoy this market.
There's really no time limit on how long something can remain quote unquote overbought either, right?
100% correct. That's why for me, it's dangerous to say that the group is topping. We really have seen no evidence of that. Still a lot of enthusiasm. I still like a lot of these stocks, but many of them are pressing up against very important levels. Be it Apple, for example, right up near 176 is going to prove to be important. So, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Alphabet, all these names have really showed tremendous strength and have really helped to, help this market along when other sectors haven't worked so well.
Oh, well, I suggested earlier in the program that, if you're bullish the market, you better, send everything you got. Send all the Christmas cards and the holiday cards to these stocks because they've, in essence, saved this market at a time when it was rather fragile, don't you think?
I don't disagree that the downturn in February caused a lot of technical damage in sectors like financials, industrials that are now starting to show evidence of stabilizing and clawing back. So it's really important for the market that these come back. But, three things happened earlier in the week that gave me a little conviction on the market rallying before the Fed speak. One was that technology started to snap back very sharply. Consumer discretionary has broken out versus staples, and we started to see a real rolling over in a lot of the defensive sectors, utilities, staples. That's normally a very promising sign for the market.
So you say there stands a chance that these other, lagging sectors, be it financials, healthcare, discretionary's had a good year too, in its own right, that they can pick up some of the slack. Do you think it's going to happen? And if it does, why would it?
Well, they certainly have with regards to discretionary. I mean, look at the home building sector. It is set to make the highest close this week in over 16 months, ITB, XHB. So companies like DH Horton breaking out to new all-time high territory. Very impressive. Homes remain resilient, and that's something where people do not want to sell their existing homes at 3% mortgages to move elsewhere, and that's obviously an area that very well could support the supply shortage and reasons why the consumer could remain resilient.
But discretionary, I think, off the top of my head, is like the third best sector of the year behind tech, comm services, and I think it's discretionary. But financials and healthcare have lagged. And those are the ones I really want to know why you think that those would have some sort of picking up the slack at this particular moment.
Financials is more of a technical call. A lot of the sector had gotten very washed out sentiment-wise and right down near former lows. So I made a call last week about KRE, regional banks starting to bottom out. I think that has legs, given that we moved yesterday to the highest level, the biggest move in over 2 years. Healthcare has a very positive seasonal tailwind right now heading into May, June, July, the best time of the year for healthcare. So yes, it is a defensive trade, but medical devices are showing very good strength. Biotech is on the comeback. I like the group. I think some of it is defensive, which could be good for people that are looking for that kind of thing.
All right, good stuff. Good to chat with you as always.
Thanks, guys.
That's Mark Newton, Fundstrat. Up next, we are tracking